Hi guys, welcome to NorthLark Content Hub. Elated to have you guys over here, and we spoke in detail during the last episode on NorthLark Ren. We spoke of the different use cases of the multiple instances where the failure to use the absolute right technology with the blend of the correct use of human resources have moved into adverse consequences. We spoke of multiple different challenges and the benefits that one gets to use through NorthLark Ren, and I certainly hope so that it was an informative piece of content. At NorthLark, we speak all regulatory tech compliance. We're a Singaporean-based entity with offering our services around the globe with a very prestigious clientele. And we want to educate and speak about compliance more and more and do our part in ensuring that the world is a safer place. So today we have with us Vinoth Kandasamy, our own head of operations, to talk about NorthLark Galactic, the all-in-one entity management tool, state-of-the-art technology that basically has gone into NorthLark Galactic in ensuring that entity management process becomes even finer and safer and accurate and precise by the day. Speak of entity management, the first thing that comes into my mind is BVI. Correct, Vinod? Yeah.
Absolutely.
So British Virgin Islands is no stranger to those of us who dwell in the world of finance, and the process of getting into BVI is slightly complicated. Am I to understand that? Yes.
Yes, it's not like your ordinary company incorporation, because offshore incorporation, yes, is slightly different from the local incorporation. And particularly when you refer to tax havens like BVI, Cayman Islands, Mauritius, so these regions have their own classified information or classified version of incorporations. And they are particularly, provided to licensed registered agents. So these guys are the ones who represent the Financial Services Commission for these regions.
So hence why I presume the process of the incorporation that you need to always, ensure that you have a trusted registered agent who will walk you through this
Correct.
process. So before we get onto it, I think we have the absolute right person, right fit to speak about the BVI. You yourself have a certain bit of experience working in the BVI.
Yes.
Can you elaborate a little bit on that history?
Sure. So it's very interesting how it started. When I joined the firm, where we were involved with all this business in the BVI and entity management work, at the point in time when I entered into the business, I was not a compliance professional. I did not know anything about entity management. All I knew was how to manage a client, how to manage the expectation, and how to run operations. But then, as you go into the world of entity management, what intrigued me most is the complexity and the challenges that they have to deal on a daily basis and still ensure a very seamless delivery to the client. Because we talk about clients of very high net worth, and the delay or any kind of challenge in terms of a service delivery could go a long way in down south. So being very cautious about what we deliver and how intricate these details were, that was something probably act as a drive for me to get into this business even more deeper than expected.
Amazing. So I presume the role of a registered agent is very crucial because I hear that there are multiple challenges that registered agents go through, and very specifically when technology is not involved, very specifically when you go through the manual process. Can we talk a little bit on the challenges?
Yeah, see, till date, there are top market leaders in the entity management realm who are confined to manual storage of documents, manual collection of documents on emails. How secure is your email today? You can't send your personal information, like very sensitive information, starting from your passports, ID copies, your bank statements, your portfolio details and all of that. So how secure is that with all the technology, again going in the wrong direction as well? As much as it goes in the right direction, it does in the wrong as well. So there's identity theft, and there's a lot of scam happening, ransomware. So with all this, there are still companies who are confined to manual storage, manual collection of documents, which is a cumbersome process. And this not only leads to the collection of documents part alone, Dulinda, but there is a lot of delay in it. Now, if I am to send you a few information, bunch of information for you, and then wait for you to give me a feedback on an email days after days, it's going to take a long time. Unlike with the moving world, if you want to submit something, an application, you would want to access or submission feedback right away. That's how fast your life is moving now. And with all this, there could be loss of data as well. Because if you're manually going to handle stuff, you can misinterpret them, have it named in the wrong way, store it in a different place where you find it difficult when you want to retrieve the information at a later point. So there are still some loopholes with certain companies, certain market leaders as well. I don't want to mention the names, but then again, that is how it is. One thing is they're very resistant to change, because you could see companies who have been using the same software. I mean, nothing against the software, because they are brilliant. They're brilliant softwares, but then it is not the right software at this point in time, because we need to evolve as
It's not
technology
updated.
develops.
Yeah.
So that is something that we need to look at. But I think if somebody wants to look at NorthLark Galactic, they would understand why it is not the ordinary product or tool for the entity management, and how easy life can get about it.
Yeah, exactly. So before we get to that point, I'm to understand, yes, the delays and it's a cumbersome process and all of that. But I'm guessing there are, if not done right, the whole incorporation process and all of that, your ultimate client, not just the registered agents, but ultimate client may also have sanctions, penalties, late fees, and so on and so forth. Am I right?
Correct. A registered agent in the British Virgin Islands, if not compliant in terms of the regulatory requirements, mandatory filings or any documentation, storage requirements, they could even lose their license, and they will not be able to incorporate a new business for as much as they could remember.
Oh wow.
So it's that hefty, and you could lead to fines of tens of thousands of dollars.
So basically, what you're saying is it is in your interest as a registered agent, as well as the interest of potential clients of yours, that you have the right fit of technology.
Correct.
Correct. So, considering the current landscape, right, where do you see the most inefficiencies of the entity management process?
Yeah. So like we mentioned, Dulinda, because when we started off developing NorthLark Galactic is actually a byproduct of all the challenges that I would say I personally faced over the 10 years period. Because storage was difficult, it was very manual. We need to have a dedicated team for that, and we need to make sure that there is a QA happening on the storage that happens, and we had to have a dedicated team for updates. Collection of information was very cumbersome with the clients, because we had to have back and forth emails. It is still there. See, the delayed process is overall a combination of all of this. Like, your collection gets delayed, your review gets delayed, and your response time is delayed. Your storage is not streamlined, it's not automated, it's very manual. There could be a lot of errors. Now, the error percentage when it compares to the manual process and the automated process is very high. If you say, if you would have an error of 20% compared to an error of 2%, I'm not saying that there is not going to be error, but we need to mitigate it as much as possible.
100%.
And the collection, the storage, the security aspect of the documents, that is very important. Now, you would have heard about Mosaic Fonseca, Panama leaks. So we're talking about millions, trillions of dollars. And obviously, you move into a tax haven because of your security reasons, plus the fringe benefits that come along. So that cannot be compromised. And
100%.
that's not what we're looking at from NorthLark Galactic.
100%. So can we now come to the talk of the hour about how NorthLark Galactic can address these inefficiencies? How can NorthLark, maybe through a use of a typical use case, how can NorthLark Galactic make it better? Like you say, we can't eliminate, but we can sure as hell eliminate, mitigate rather.
Definitely.
How can NorthLark Galactic play this part?
Correct. So NorthLark Galactic as a tool has very specialized features. Now, for example, starting from the onboard of a client, how they provide the details and everything, we have a centralized platform where all of the stakeholders have access into one platform, but completely access control. Now, a client has certain level of privilege, a compliance officer has a certain level of privilege, and all of that is access control to mitigate any sort of vulnerability that would go into misuse of access or security breach rather. And we have integrated multi-factor authentications, automated storage. So when I speak about automated storage, in comparison to the local or the current situation, all what you have to do here on NorthLark Galactic is you just have to rename a document in a particular way, a standard naming convention rather, which we call it more like a Bible. So if you rename the document and that particular document enters into the tool, your storage, your indexing, your retrieval, your encryption, everything is automated.
Wow.
You just have to rename the document in such a way, that's it.
Everything falls in line.
Everything falls in line. So I would easily say 90% automation for document storage alone. And we have, real-time alerts, notifications sent out to the clients, in reminder of any mandatory filings. And let's say if there is a document that expires. Now, if you have a passport and if it expires in the next 3 months, you'll get a notification right now saying, hey, Dulinda, your passport is due for expiry on this particular date. So that gives you a heads up saying, okay, I need to obviously renew my passport, then I need to also give them a copy, because this is again a very, very important compliance requirement for the registered agents, because they are required by the regulator themselves to maintain up-to-date information, valid up-to-date information. So these are a few things that NorthLark Galactic gives.
So I think you rightfully spoke about how Galactic can definitely help to make your life easy if you're one of the registered agents. So can we speak about, since we spoke a lot about the inefficiencies within the manual process, and I'm guessing automation is a big part of what NorthLark Galactic has to offer.
Absolutely.
Right. So can we speak a little bit about how automation can necessarily help you in this entire process?
Right. That is a fantastic question. Now, the interesting part of it is, with the whole world moving very fast, you would want any service delivery like very quickly, very efficiently. At the same time, you want it accurate, right? So when it comes to the entity management world, what we call a COI, Certificate of Incumbency, is a document that is mostly required by the companies like every quarter or maybe every 6 months. And when you usually go to a registered agent, based on the registered agent's practice now, how they manually store the documents, retrieval process, and how they want to cross-check with the data that they've updated elsewhere from the storage point. So all of this would take a lot of time. And usually, if there is no structural change, it would take anywhere between 48 to 72 hours for you to get a COI, executed COI from a registered agent. But guess what? I'm open for a challenge if anyone wants to actually challenge this on, because I know this happens in NorthLark Galactic. We can give you an executed COI given that there is no structural change of a company at the point in time where the request is generated within under 15 minutes. And I'm talking about 15 minutes in comparison to 48 to 72 hours.
Wow.
And that's the level of automation that NorthLark Galactic has looked into when it comes to service delivery, because we don't want to just give them a tool which makes it very easy for things to be delivered. We want to add value, because like I mentioned, the whole tool was prepared or developed through the pain points. So we want to make sure that it's absolute fun and absolute easy.
Amazing. I mean, 48 hours to 15 minutes.
Exactly.
They call time is money. So
And we talk about money.
and we talk about money. It's just amazing. But I think while the automation part and the efficiency is what we just basically spoke about, if at all we wanted to kind of factor it, efficiency is what we basically spoke about. But I think another greater part of the job of registered agents is also being compliant.
Correct.
to the respective regulatory authorities on whatever the domains that they work with. So can you can you elaborate a little bit on how NorthLark Galactic aims to be compliant as well?
Correct. So when it comes to the KYC, know your customer management, and then the AML fact of it, and being compliant per the regulator's requirement, NorthLark Galactic kind of eases out that process as well. Now you don't have to manually have a dashboard updated elsewhere, or maybe an Excel sheet with thousands of emails and company details and their risk levels for you to follow up and everything. So how NorthLark Galactic works again is, if you probably want to check a background check of an individual or a company that you want to onboard, you can simply key in their details, and again, their background verification result would come to you within 5 minutes.
Wow.
Insert your name, unless and unless you have anything to shield out yourself. Your key in your details. Obviously, we get the passports and ID copies. So background verification, we've partnered with the world's, I think, probably the top 5. Proud to say, we partnered with top 5 watch list companies who help us in getting these results.
Amazing.
Like Refinitiv, Dow Jones, SAMS, Saltix Partners, LexisNexis. So these are few companies that we talk about when it comes to watch lists, and all of them are in our list. So what we've done is we've made sure the risk appetite of the individual is provided to the registered agent very clearly before they onboard into the process. And next, the periodic reviews. Now, based on the risk level of the individual or the company, there is a particular interval that the reviews have to be made. Now, this is a requirement by the Financial Services Commission, and there is an annual audit, annual and a biannual audit based on the requirements about their compliance status in terms of the documents that they hold, the validity, the risk reviews, the periodic reviews, the submissions, the filings. And to talk about it, there is a rule, or there is a bill that's going to be passed from effective the Q1 of 2025, that all compliance filings are also to be mandated, which means you need to be ahead of the game right now. And NorthLark Galactic has automated triggers that sent out to the compliance teams and relevant relationship managers for document collection, periodic reviews, risk analysis, which means you do not have a way to avoid any loss. Or there is absolutely no chance that you would be missing out any filings.
Oh, amazing. I think if you're a registered agent and if you're watching this, there is no chance that you're not giving it a go, because I presume there is a free demo that is involved.
Absolutely.
With NorthLark Galactic. So this is your calling. But we spoke about being compliant. We spoke about being efficient. Also, there is once it is an entity management tool, there is a lot of sensitive data involved.
Correct.
Can we speak a little bit about the data security part of things?
Yep. So starting from the start, Dulinda, our key focus area was the security of the platform, because we were talking about having one solution for everyone to be accessing. The end client, the introducers, the stakeholders, whether it be directors or shareholders based on their roles that they play, the compliance officers, the processors, the analysts, the managers, everyone. It's just one platform that we have for everyone. So our main concern was, how secure is it going to be? How secure are we going to make it? So our point from the start of the inception, even if you want to access the platform, you would have to go through the usual login, multi-factor authentication each time that you log in, and it's very sensitive. And every user that enters into the platform is access controlled. They will have certain privileges allowed for them. And then again, the data encryption. Data encryption works right from the onset. The moment there is a document fed into the tool, it is encrypted client side and both server side. And we have AWS WAF, ALB, end-to-end encryption, and then we also have, like I mentioned, a geolocation tagging. Now, let's say, for example, your first login today was in New York, and the next 2 hours you're logging in from Sri Lanka. That can't happen. So those kind of minute detailing we've gone in. So you technically cannot share your credentials, even if it is going to be your closest associate. And that is a vulnerability that we've done. So
Wow.
completely
I mean,
ring fenced.
That is as secure as it gets.
And plus, we do have a secret key manager inbuilt,
Okay.
which means even people within the same network, they will not be able to access any other data because it's encrypted completely. Plus, we deploy this solution to each client on an exclusive S3 bucket encrypted cloud storage.
Oh, amazing. Just amazing. We don't, before we come into the conclusion, I want to see, because I think the intention of our Content Hub also is about educating the world and speaking about common issues. So can we speak a little bit about what advice would you like with what would you necessarily keep along with the registered agents? What are the common pitfalls that you can avoid, and what would you necessarily deal with them?
Right. So just like I spoke earlier, now the most important part is you should not be resistant to change, because as a registered agent, they would have had practices that they would have gone through for years and years. And I've personally interacted with a lot of registered agents who have certain stagnated practices. And that needs to be broken. That barrier needs to be broken, Dulinda, because if you really want to come out of a shell and grow, you need to first break the shell. And this by no means is against any of the software developers or software resellers per se for that in the market. But then again, as we change, as the requirements change, as the compliance realm itself changes, I think we need to be very efficient, very proactive, and this could save both parties. Now, the individual who is going to incorporate the business has a lot of sensitive information being shared across.
100% yes.
And the one who is incorporating has a lot of responsibility in making sure that sensitive data is treated as much importantly as the original person would do it. So there's a lot of dependency, there's a lot of trust that is involved in this particular space of business. And I think NorthLark Galactic is a definitely wonderful tool. Not because we developed it, but because we put in a lot of hard work, a lot of research, and we have people with hands-on experience working with different platforms. So that is why NorthLark Galactic stands out from the rest of the market. We are quite new in the market, but the whole reason of being new is because nothing pops up overnight.
Of course.
There's a lot of hard work coming in, and
100%.
I'm sure anybody who is interested in getting a full-on demo for NorthLark Galactic would then understand why we speak so much about it.
I was just about to come to that. Now, I mean, we spoke about resistance to change. So I wanted to touch upon that. I mean, how easy would it be for a registered agent who's looking at this discussion and says, you know what, I want to try out NorthLark Galactic. How easy would the process be, and what kind of support can they expect?
Right. A call away for the demo. First thing.
But that's the point to start with.
First thing to start with, we just call away for a demo, and then we have a standard practice that we go ahead with, because we have an analysis that we do, a 360 analysis for the client on the platform that they have currently and how their data is stored and all of that. And we provide 100% support service in terms of data migration, data cleanup, restoration, and also a 24/7 IT support for the platform. So the platform support is already provided. And the most important part is we have experienced individuals who have worked previously on this kind of detailing, and the very interesting, or the most interesting part is the platform is 100% customized.
Wow.
100%. You can add on details and you can have your customized workflows integrated. If there's any external API that you want to integrate, it's a plug and play option for you. So it's a whole world in one platform.
Doesn't get better than that.
Nah, nothing better than Galactic.
Thank you very much, Vinoth. I think it was very insightful. So if you were one of the registered agents that was looking at this discussion, and if you've made it this far, that means you've understood absolutely how NorthLark Galactic is going to add value to you. So like Vinoth said, the free demo is one call away. Email us, text us. Our contact details are shown below. So talk to us, and we'll get you sorted right away. Thank you very much for joining with us, and stay tuned for the next discussion.